We on?
Yeah.
Live from the gorgeous Prince George's. This is the one and only, the illustrious, soon to be world famous, Shattered Illusionz Podcast, a regular edition. And guys, we got a very, very exciting episode for you tonight. It's not going to be a whole bunch of screaming and yelling. This is going to be a heavy technical episode for you guys, trying to give you guys as much value as we can. But before we do that, a couple of announcements. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and Rumble at Shattered Illusionz. We've been growing at a good rate. We want to get to 1,000 subscribers, guys, so we can make sure we bring out this fire content, start doing some live shows, get some bigger guests, get us to 1,000. Also, like the damn video. All right, before we get into the bullshit, I got to check on my family. Oliver Fortune, the man, the myth, the legend. How you doing, bro?
Hey, man, we're doing good. Just getting better every day, man. Getting better every day.
We actually have Skylar behind the camera tonight. Will's somewhere. I think Will's on the way, so we might do a little switcheroo mid-show. But Skylar, how you feeling, bro?
I'm good. I'm not your bro.
How you doing, Muffin Mix?
I'm great, baby.
All right. Anyway, sick of her already. Let's get to the show tonight, man. Tonight we got a little bit of a different episode for you guys, man. I want to introduce to you guys a really good dude we've known for probably a year or two now. Hardworking guy, humble dude. Works out at the same gym as us, one of the biggest gyms in DMV. Let me introduce y'all to my man, Vince.
Will I take him to the creek?
Yes, sir. Vince,
What's going on, everybody?
Meditative bodybuilding.
how you doing, bro?
I'm doing all right, man. Thank you for having me.
Bro, you're welcome anytime, man. We've been talking about doing this for a very long time. I mentioned it to you like probably around a year ago.
Yeah.
Oliver and I have been doing this studio for a very long time, man. So it's good to finally actually have you on. Get to the BS a little bit, man. I'm looking forward to this, man, because it's going to be a little bit different. Like I said, we're going to talk about some heavy technical things, bro.
Yes.
So the floor is yours. But before we do that, do you kind of want to give like a little brief elevator pitch about who you are, what you do, things like that?
So first, I want to start this off by saying I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. So just a little disclaimer.
Okay.
Now comes someone Shattered Illusionz.
Yeah.
Facts.
But my name is Vince. I work in construction sales, and I'm a huge fitness enthusiast and stock market enthusiast, and spend a lot of time reading. And in that time of reading, I've noticed some patterns that are kind of coming to fruition right now, and that's what I want to discuss tonight.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad you gave that disclaimer because I'm glad that you did that because I would have definitely forgot.
Yeah.
Guys, these are just three guys with a microphone, but Vince knows what he's talking about, but just got to make that brief disclaimer, man. So let's just go ahead and hop right into it, Vince. You had a couple of theories that we were talking about a little bit before we got on the podcast, and we talked about a little bit before at the gym. So why don't we go ahead and start with some of your working theories, and we'll kind of piggyback off of that. Go ahead, bro.
So basically, there are two different ways society runs its economy, either through big business or through big government.
Okay.
And every 20 to 30 years, we see either significant economic decline, collapse, or recession. And after around 10-ish years after that, we see radical change in economic policy, usually a switch from big business to big government or from big government to big business.
All right, I'm following you.
And so this has been happening since the second industrial revolution, from the times of Carnegie, who owned steel, Rockefeller, who owned oil, Vanderbilt railroads. I can go on and on. They had, abysmal worker laws. They had monopolies over the markets. Some of the richest individuals in history. And that changed when workers were extremely poor, starving, and working ungodly hours. And a president by the name of Theodore Roosevelt saw this about 20, 30 years into the second revolution and changed it all up. He broke up all the big banks, broke up the monopolies, and basically, I don't want to say distribute the wealth, but distribute equity to the people. And for a short amount of time, we had a big business government, heavy regulated government.
Sure.
Okay. Now, after Theodore Roosevelt was Taft, and after Taft was Woodrow Wilson.
Mm.
Woodrow Wilson kind of was progressive during that era, but he kind of laid the foundations of people favoring big business, which led us to the Roaring 20s. Now, around 19, 20 years after Woodrow Wilson was president was the Great Depression. So another significant collapse, and then that lasted about 5, 6, maybe 7 years, the Great Depression.
And it's through the 1930s, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then Franklin Roosevelt came in, introduced more big business. Okay. 30 years after Franklin Roosevelt, we had the Great Inflation. So during that 30 years, we had big business or big government regulations and, heavy taxes on the people. And after around 30, 40 years, Ronald Reagan becomes president, introduces big business, and creates the sentiment that government is the problem, not the solution. And we've been living with that sentiment up until this day. A lot of people really like that sentiment, even though I don't think that's what we should be doing right now.
So your argument is basically more government involvement.
Yes.
See, because the funny thing about that, especially this day and age, everybody hates the government.
Exactly.
So,
But to be honest, they don't even really know why. They just know they have a job in the government. They say, I hate this. They truly don't know in depth how things work.
Yeah, I mean,
when they come to that conclusion.
Yeah, I agree with that. So what kind of shaped your reality, I guess, to make you really think like that? Because, I mean, like you ask the average person, everyone says the government should keep their hands off.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I think the Republicans did and what Reagan did worked so well was he used the bad policies of the 1970s where big government went too far. I mean, it just was not working. People were getting heavily taxed. I mean, that crime rate was high. Big government went too far during that time.
Okay.
And so big business was the perfect solution to kind of open the floodgates of the economy, let corporations, feed cash flows through the economy. Okay. Now, unfortunately, sorry, kind of lost my train of thought, but
you're good, bro.
But what big business intends to do is constantly grow over decades, and eventually we need to have some kind of maintenance or sustainability with our economy, and I think that's what our it's time for.
And you think the government can kind of basically come in and provide that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's kind of funny, man, because like we were talking about a little bit before the show, you would say that you lean more left than right?
Yes.
But you started right.
Yes.
Okay, so we were talking about this earlier too. Oliver and I started, at least I did. You did that too, to a certain extent, right? We started left, and then we ended up going right.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. You look at the dynamic here. You would think that we're the Democrats, and then you be the Republican.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But like, it's just interesting hearing this kind of like this way of thinking, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
It's kind of a trip.
Yeah, it's really weird, bro. So just before we get really too much into, I guess, going down the rabbit hole, so to speak.
Yes.
How did you get here from right to left? Because you even talk about a little bit of socialism too, and kind of go into that a little bit too.
Well, I just saw how workers were being treated during the pandemic. It really, I mean, we were putting people, in front of a disease, and they weren't, getting paid adequately for the risk of working there.
Sure.
Basically, how workers were treated was kind of what really made me have angst for corporations and shift from, but they're job creators to their main focus is the shareholders, no matter how unethical or immoral it may be.
Yeah. And I kind of see both sides, because I mean, I grew up believing that life is either black or white, and a lot of the time there's some gray area there.
No pun intended.
So the funny thing about that is, like, I see both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
I can see that corporations, they do good jobs by creating jobs, you know, giving people an avenue to start creating some wealth by offering full 401k benefits, pension, and things like that. But also on the other side, that they can be greedy. And like you said, they only care about the shareholders to a certain extent. So I kind of see both sides, man. It's just kind of really interesting to kind of see your thought process with that.
Well, I think it's more scarier though, just in my opinion. I think it's more scarier if we don't have the jobs. Because even though we can say like, oh man, people are working these long hours and things like that. But to me, this is why I kind of like, I went from left to right. Because I started noticing people playing more of the victim. But I'm like, hold on, bro. You choose to go to that job that's paying you $13 an hour. You choose to work these long, strenuous, you know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, everybody's background is different. But, and I can only speak on, like I said, growing up in America. But to me, as long as you're in America, like you can make that switch. Now, that don't mean it's going to be easy. It don't mean it's going to be, you know, just something you could just do overnight. But to me, when I hear people say that kind of like, you know, I'm like, but that's a choice, you know?
You're victim blaming all of it. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know I'm not gonna be a fan favorite, but I mean, and that's what, and don't get me wrong, my family thinks like this. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm the only one that don't.
Right.
I'm the only one that says no. You can get up and actually do something. Like, yo, you can make a change. And like I said, you might have to break some family curses and some family patterns, but to me, you can make something of yourself. Black, white, it doesn't matter. If you willing to put, especially in 2023, bro, you got a cell phone, you can make a change. So that's just my like kind of like opinion on it. And to me, with the big corporations, yeah, it's difficult, but to me, it's like they're still making jobs that people are choosing to go to. So when you asking for a job, it's like, to me, it's like almost beggars can't be choosers. And not to change and make it biblical or nothing, you know, I'm not all like that, but just even some people try to throw the Bible in there. Well, I'm like, well, only people that had jobs in the Bible were, you know, were slaves and soldiers. So to me, it's like anybody has the opportunity now to make a big business on their own if they educate themselves enough. So
but don't you think that somebody should only have to work one job in order to survive off of just survive, really, and not just survive, but also live a decent life, at least. I'm not saying that they should have enough money to go to the club every fucking night, or to own a Lamborghini or a multi-million-dollar house for sure, but at least be able to pay their bills, be able to pay their rents, and for food and gas as well. You know.
Yeah,
I think in an ideal world that would be the best thing, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, but
we had that.
You think
we
so?
Had that. We had that.
We did. It was like that. Like I said, like 70s, 80s, 90s, especially when our
60s,
parents grew up. Yeah,
40s, 50s, and 60s. Yeah,
Right.
That's how it was. And then when Ronald Reagan came, well, according to my theory, when Ronald Reagan came into the presidency, that the wages and the prices of everything started splitting off.
Well, that's a fact, though. I guess. I mean, you know,
yes.
that's
but it kept up.
Yeah,
Wages and, you know, like housing prices, food costs, they were, you know, in tandem with each other.
Yeah, you couldn't write stuff off as much stuff off anymore, like as you was the regular human. I think you couldn't write off, you know, like your car or anything anymore, like appreciation of your car.
I want to know about that, but just the wages you earned from working a job were in tandem with food prices and housing prices back then. My grandma told me the other day that she paid $7,000 fucking for her house back in, I think, like 1940, 1950 or something. Like one of those times. I didn't ask her what year, but like it was much more affordable back then.
Yeah.
And I think if government got involved in corporate with, you know, corporate processes and keeping people from fucking over you know, average worker, middle class America, we can get back to that time. Because nobody full time, I believe nobody who's working full time should have to work a second job, should have to start a business, or even have to get a college degree. Honestly.
And Vince, I agree where you're coming from to a certain. So you're basically saying go back to the good old days, essentially, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay. But see, here lies the problem, and we just always tell guys that the world is very rarely ideal, or is it very rarely going to be fair. And I agree with what you're saying in theory.
Absolutely.
It's 100% fact. But see, shout out to the wealthy Gardner. He says that you get paid in 3 ways. It's essentially the need for what you do, how good you are at it, and the difficulty in replacing you. And unfortunately, people these days, they don't have necessarily what's the word I'm looking
value.
for? Yeah, they don't have a high income skill that demands the market to pay them. And also on top of this, man, just kind of just piggyback on that point, we also have a lot more things we got to pay for now. There wasn't Wi-Fi back in 1950.
True.
There wasn't cable. There wasn't internet. There wasn't fucking all these entertainment and concerts and things like that. So we're actually paying for a lot more while kind of getting paid more in reality, but less in theory. What do you got on that?
I kind of want to know what makes you think that that people don't have value.
Oh,
right
what?
now. Yeah,
I
would kind of like to dig deeper.
Yeah,
into
go
that.
ahead.
So when I say value, I'm not saying like people don't have value.
Valuable skills in the workforce.
Sure.
I should
Correct. So at the end of the day, right? Who determines? And we have this argument with girls all the time. Who determines what's valuable in the marketplace? Unfortunately, the marketplace. I don't determine what's valuable. He don't determine what's valuable. Ask him. I do a lot of. I do not. I tell him every day, like, man, this is some bullshit. But at the end of the day, if you have something that's in demand, that's a high demand skill, it's considered valuable by the marketplace. So when I say valuable, I'm not saying like humans, like they're less or anything like that. But what I mean, like, is just like value in terms of what they give to the marketplace. So that's going to be a reflection of course, how much money you make. I don't mean like they're valuable, like they're worthless type things.
Yeah. Well,
Honestly, what you think? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it should be like that, but it's just, to me, it's just, I just kind of just more so just accept it. But I mean,
Yeah, I just think that even though, someone like who works at a grocery store, or even dare I say works at McDonald's or something like that, I don't think that they should go hungry, or that they shouldn't they shouldn't be able to have a place of their own and not be able to pay. I know that might sound a bit extreme, but I truly believe anybody who works full time should be able to at least meet the standards of living.
Right. Just
Not
be able to have
so
the basics
far under where you have to work 2-3 jobs or like start a business or something. Like you have to start a business.
Yeah.
As opposed to wanting to start a business.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
No, I completely agree. And I was having this argument. No, it's not an argument, but I was having a discussion with somebody the other day. Somebody came to me and he was like, man, all you do is talk about money because that's all you want. I said, bro, let's get something real clear. Money is not all that I freaking want. But the thing about it is, it's unfortunately became a game where you have to be good at it.
Absolutely.
Like you have to be good at it. So it's not the fact that I like money. It's the same thing. We all are in the gym. It's just imagine that if you had to be in shape. If you had to be in shape, well, you're going to hear a lot more people talking about calories, macros, because they have to do it. If you want to, like you said, have some type of substantial status or even living, like how you said. Yeah. So the same thing when it comes to money. You have to know how money works. How does it flow? Where does it go? How do I market? These are all components of business. And it's like, thing about it is you have to kind of, if you wasn't like born into it, like a Vanderbilt kid or something like that, you have to learn, you have to study. My parents, they know the typical middle class stuff, but a lot of stuff I had to learn like on my own from books. I had to get thousands of books. Like he said, The Wealthy Gardener was one. So it's just I had to go out here and really, really, really get it. You know what I'm saying? So I understand completely what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it's like that's how the world is. I understand idealistically. I wish it wasn't like that either. Because trust me, there's other things I'd rather be doing with my time. But at the same time, I got to just accept what it is and move and can't keep sitting here wishing. And that's where my argument comes from with as far as debating people on the left. At the end of the day, it is what it is. You're either going to, like, to me, rise to it or you're just going to fall behind. The wishful thinking, I'm not a big fan of that. To me, it just doesn't work.
But see, here's the thing. I think that's sad that we have to constantly be grinding. Like, don't get me wrong. I work hard every day.
Right. 100%.
I love the feeling of coming home, knowing that I worked hard, gave it my best at work today, and help some people out. So, but to work that job and to work another job and to go to school and to constantly study market analysis, I don't think that's sustainable for anybody. That's not what everybody wants to do.
Right.
And we never had to do that before.
Right.
Honestly, I mean, only one person would support a household. Again, back in the good old days.
Yep.
And then the 80s came around. 80s and 90s came around. 2 people had to work. Now it's like two
Both
people
of them
have
could
to
be there.
work. You can't have kids, and both of them have 2 jobs.
Yeah.
and both of them have bachelor's
And no
degrees or
vacations.
something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
true.
the consistent growth is like kind of dwindling
Mhm.
people's income right now because wages haven't moved.
Right. No, I completely agree, man. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm not arguing with it because, like I said, I mean, I work 2-3 jobs myself and accent. I mean, I work all the time. You
Yes.
get what I'm saying? So it's like, but at the same time, I always make the argument just in terms like I'm not saying it should be that way, but at the same time, it's like I can either sit here and this, like I said, this is what made me go from left to right. I can either sit here, complain about it, say, you know what, ain't fair. It's not all this. Or like I said, I can go ahead, ground it out for the next 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. And who knows? I might not even make it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's like, that's my shot though.
Yes.
And my only argument to people that live in America is that at least you have a shot. Like you go to some of these countries, man, it's completely lawless. You know what I mean? You only have a shot to even breathe or even just have any certain type of health care. So to me, at least the only argument that I make with the left is, yes, I do understand it is unfair. And they say that I'm saying, no, trust me, if it's anybody saying it, it's me. But I'm telling you, but at the same time, I tell people like, at least you have a chance.
And I kind of want to go into that too a little bit, Vince, too, because like the distrust of the government now is probably at an all-time high.
Absolutely.
And I don't really know like when this happened. I don't really know everything about it too, but what do you say to the people?
Vaccines.
What do you say to the people that are like, hey, the government's sending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine? The government's kind of putting a bunch of money doing the quote unquote, the P word, that word, doing that.
Getting Brittany Griner back.
Yeah, like so what do you say to people like that? Because I mean, when I'm looking on the outside looking in, the government, the Federal Reserve, they're printing the money that's currently devaluing the currency. Do you have a like kind of a rebuttal to that?
Well, in terms of printing money,
Okay.
there is such thing as a healthy inflation rate.
Sure,
It's been
absolutely.
happening-
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So what we're seeing right now with inflation was due to, I believe, more so the interest rates plus the paychecks that were given out.
Kind of go into that a little bit.
Yeah. So let me put it to you this way. You want to take out $100,000 loan.
Okay.
Well, how much is that $100,000 loan worth to you? 2%? 3%? So that $100,000 isn't worth $100,000. That $100,000 is $102,000, $103,000. That's what devalues. That's what devalues the money supply.
All right.
Okay. So when you lower those interest rates, all that the Federal Reserve has to keep up with that. Okay. Plus you got people getting free money from the paychecks. So that just adds fuel to the fire. And that's creates the situation that we have today.
Yeah. And then they just keep printing more and more and more money. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they have to.
Yeah, they do. They have to.
But I mean, I'd say the Federal Reserve is doing a decent job with the interest rate hikes and everything.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you gotta do what you because you have to keep it. Because at the end of the day, one thing that both can agree on: money has to move. It has to move, whether here or here. It just has to move. So if money stops circulating, we'll just subside automatically as a society. Every business will fold up. So no, the Federal Reserve is. I mean, they're doing what they got to do.
Yes,
so
they're doing all they can do. Really, honestly.
Yeah.
So Vince, kind of go into what do you think a healthy inflation rate is? Like
2 to 3%.
2 to 3%.
Yeah.
And where just for the people, where are we at now? Do you think?
Right now, I can't believe I didn't write this down.
Give us a range.
Yeah, just
a range.
just
last year we had around 9%.
All right,
9% inflation. Right now,
well, let's just say
I don't think.
because I've heard some really like astronomically high numbers before. I'm just kind of curious. You research it more than I do. Like I've heard as high as 11% in some instances. Then again, I don't know how fast.
But even at 9%, 9% is still drastically higher than what you would recommend.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, even at 9, it's still drastically higher.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think it reached 10 or 11%.
I'm just saying. I've heard people definitely say that. And again, who knows?
To me, if they don't do their research, because I just know when I talk to most people don't really do their research. They just say stuff because it feels like stuff.
And of course,
feelings aren't facts.
the people that I'm watching it are saying this. It's not just some guy that has a pen, like just has some kind of blog on some.
Oh, okay.
Website.
It's not just Uncle Larry at the cookout.
Exactly.
Man, they taxed me 13%.
This is actually some guy that supposedly has some kind of like credibility, like saying things like that. So that's why I was just kind of curious. And I haven't really researched it, but I definitely do think that a healthy there has to be a healthy, I guess, inflation rate, but. I just think right now it's just too high. And like my question is now, how do you get it back down to that healthy rate from the
increasing interest rates? So you're making the value of money more valuable so that people don't take risks. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you learn anything from this podcast today from me, is that rich people have more debt than anybody.
Oh yeah, we know that.
Dude, okay, good. Yeah. Good. Because I guarantee you when Elon Musk bought Twitter, I bet you like 80% of that wasn't from his own money. It was from shares in Tesla stocks.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
So or loans, bonds are loans.
Right.
People take out these loans all the time, and that's kind of what the Federal Reserve is trying to stop.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, from their perspective, that's kind of in terms of tax wise, that's the smart thing to do if you're trying to save the most of your money. And
that's really the only thing they can do.
Yeah.
And another sad part about this is that when people lose their jobs, that's considered like a green light right now.
Yeah.
And because people won't have much, personal spending. And I think if we have a system that prioritizes that, like if that's a green light for our economy, that's not an economy that works, in my opinion.
And when you say green light, what do you mean by green light?
Like inflation will go down.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And which is true. It is true.
Now,
if more people lose their jobs and don't have as much disposable income, inflation will go down because people will stop spending so much money.
Now, I mean, I constantly will kind of make the argument, and like I said, this is just my theory. At the end of the day, I already told TK, at the end of the day, it ain't gonna be no have or have nots for me. It's either I have or that's it. But I do make the argument that I think the government wants people to be dependent on them. You know what I'm saying? I'd make the argument, and like I said, that's just the theory. Because my thing is, it's like, why would you let it get this bad? You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. Like I said, that's what I said. I see what you're talking about. Why would you get to the point where, a person has to do this to their job? And don't get me wrong. Like you said, most people don't have the desire or even the will or the skill to even, like I said, just try to make it. You know what I'm saying? Make an attempt. Okay, yeah. You don't think it's because of form of control? They don't want people relying on the government?
No, because government really doesn't have that much control of our economy right now. I mean, at least I don't think so. Okay. Because any kind of regulation, like whether it's a cap on insulin or something, gets filibustered by the Republican senators every time it makes it through the House. All right. Yeah. It get any type of regulation that is in the best interest of people, of common, average, everyday Americans, gets blocked because that means some government is going to have to either do their jobs or put some funding into certain programs that will help people.
Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense.
So your argument is that the government doesn't want more control.
Certain members of the government. The reason why I say I'm a Democrat is because I've seen more Democrats wanting to pass these kinds of legislation than I've seen Republicans. If anything, there's almost no Republicans that want to pass these types of programs or funding to help people.
All right,
honestly, they're more so in like I get it from an opinion that government is a problem and not the solution.
Right.
That's still the sentiment that they hold and want to keep. And obviously they have the powers to keep it that way.
So, yeah, Vince is going to get a lot of hand claps after this podcast. Man, you could get canceled even deeper.
We already about to get canceled, bro. That's a whole different conversation.
Follow us on Rumble.
And Vince, like I said, I don't think anything you're saying is necessarily wrong. Because I mean, always the thing I always look at my opinion, and I say, you know what can I possibly change that could basically make this different? Like, how can I think differently? I don't mind my opinion being challenged. And I think what you're saying in theory is right. Like, I think, for example, I think socialism works great on paper. It works great on paper, but sucks in reality.
Look at the economies that already have it.
Right.
I mean, I can't argue. It's just, I mean, my thing is, I think still, even though we can make that argument. To me, it still comes down to the person. You know, at the end of the day, it's like, look, bro, nobody wants to do this shit. You get what I'm saying? Nobody wants to work 2 or 3 jobs, but you're doing it. I'm doing it. Like, and then, you know, we even take our extra time and our leisure to do stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like,
you guys. I don't think it goes down to the person. I think it just goes down to a matter of time. Like I said, everything, whether it's big business or big government, it has a time limit. Whether, I mean, the range of that time limit is dependent on, you know, economic conditions. So many different variables, really. But I think it's all dependent on a matter of time.
So you think even down to the individual, it's a matter of time?
Yes.
Okay.
So for the average individual, what would you recommend them doing currently? I mean, protest or
play the game. Play the game as best as you can, and I guess hopefully that there's a radical change in economic policy, because right now nobody has incentive to either give back to the average worker, and honestly, I don't blame them. If you have no incentive, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So play the game as best you can. Work 2-3 jobs. Try to start a business. Try to, try to get your degree and everything.
See, because that's what we were talking about, though, Vince. Because, like, honestly, like let's just try to compare it to the gym, right?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, when you're going to the gym, how many days out of the week, if you go 5, how many days do you feel like actually being in there?
Not that many.
I'm going to tell you, I go 6. I might have a day where I feel like I might want to go one time. Ask Skylar. Skylar, how many times do I complain about going to the gym?
Every single day.
Literally. But so what we're trying to say is that if you have the desire to really change, if you have the desire to really want to do something, I don't care how tired you are. You know what I'm saying? We're all tired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like eating right. I don't feel like being a good person sometimes. But that's what we're trying to say with this podcast. It's like you have to do things you don't feel like. And it is unfair. It's unfair that we're not back in 1950 and 1960 where things can be just the good old golden age. You know, I can have a stay-at-home wife, support 3 or 4 kids. So we're just trying to, like, when we have guys down, we want to make sure we're presenting them with some kind of solutions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because most people just take this and be like, oh, more, I can't do anything. I can't. See, I'm a victim. It's like, you know, and don't get me wrong. Like I said, I agree, man. I agree. I wish it was. Like, I literally talked to my mom about this stuff, like, literally almost every other day. Like, talk about how, like, she was even saying, like, you know, just more simpler times back then. Like she said, you could have a house. You know, my dad was working like hell too, but at the same time, you still could have a house, 2 car, family, all this other stuff on. Well, I don't say my dad was working. He definitely wasn't working on a minimum wage job, but I'm just saying, but like, you could do it on one or just like one income, or if you did work 2 jobs, you could have a little extra. But now I get what you're saying. You working 2-3 jobs, and it's like, dang, you still behind. You still counting them dollars. Like, shit, damn.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you all feel about, like, the jobs? You talk about skilled labor. What do you feel about the jobs that have been taken by, like, automation and things? Because there's not a lot of the skilled labor jobs that used to be around.
That's a great question.
That is a good question.
That's a great question.
I don't know if you want me to go first, because at the end of the day,
because this is outside my realm.
No, because even with the automation stuff, I had a conversation about this the other day. I mean, don't get me wrong, people gonna say I'm insensitive, but bro, at the end of the day, like, this is what I say to myself. So this is what I say to other people. I wouldn't say anything to other people. I wouldn't say to myself. You gotta just step up, man. You gotta just step up. You gotta see where money's moving. You gotta see where the world is going, and you just have to find a way to make yourself valuable within that. You may not feel like doing this. This may not be the art career that you wanted. This may not be that you want to do. But at the end of the day, if there's an opportunity, bro, you better find your way to place yourself in front of that opportunity, because some people don't even have the opportunity. And that's just my whole thing with it. With AI, yes, there's a lot of things that's coming through with artificial intelligence, jobs being taken up, but just look at where it's going. Okay, the copywriters are probably going to be extinct. The content writers are probably going to be extinct. They're talking about making, fake YouTube creators and, just giving them scripts. There's no way you can outman that. But with 1,000 things that come, there's going to be 10,000 more problems. So my thing is, you have to be able to be perspicacious enough and see that and say, okay, well, there's going to be a lot of errors with AI. How about I start learning the AI technician? How about I start get in front of it? Because eventually this skill is going to be high demand. It may not be what I want to do, but this will be something that I can at least feed my family off at least for years to come. Like I said, it may be stuff you just don't want to do. And I think the problem with America, I think, if we're being honest, this is my thing. I think we're really just fucking spoiled. At the end of the day, I'm never going to be mad because you got people coming in here from other countries that come over here, don't speak any English, nothing, and they can make something of themselves because they come in and they're ready to fucking work. And people got a problem with that, but I don't. My whole thing is like if they're coming in and they're willing to do the shit that you don't want to do, working way less that you don't want to, working for way less ways than you don't want to work with no benefits. I done seen
more.
Mexicans, Hispanics get fucked over in court because you know what I'm saying, like dude try to fake him out of having businesses and he got hurt on it. I get it. I understand the pain, but at the end of the day, what can you do? We can either sit here and complain or we can sit here and just say, hey, bro, I just got to step it up. I got to go to where it's going and I got to make myself in high demand. And it's just, that's just how it is. You know, it's just, and unfortunately, I really wish we could go back to that. You know what I'm saying? Because I even always talk to, like I said, talk to my mother about that all the time. I wish we go back to the 80s where it was just simple. I tell them, I was like, bro, if I could just live a regular life and go off into the woods and just chill with my family, like I'd be fine. I don't need all this extra shit. But at the end of the day, if this is what has to be done in order to make myself valuable or in order to, and valuable in terms of the marketplace, this is what the marketplace wants in order to get cash flow, I can't be no broke motherfucker. So it's like at the end of the day, I have to at least give it a shot. And people say, oh, it's a 1 in a million. Well, at least you got a 1 in a million because some people have a one and done. Some people have arms, limbs, all that shit. So I have all those things. If you're a healthy military age male, no disabilities, no nothing, man, look, at least you got a shot. Get out here and get to work. That's just my whole philosophy on it.
What you got on the AI and everything, Vince? What you got on that?
It's going to be interesting to see. Honestly,
Yeah.
I tried that chat GPT.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
How'd you like it?
It was interesting. All I did was I put in how to be a stock day trader. Wrote down like a whole list of instructions about how to play the market and day trade and everything like that. So it was really, really interesting.
Yeah. Even making like landing pages and stuff like that. I mean, stuff that used to take like days or 2 days, though, these things can make within like
seconds.
2 to 3 minutes.
It's crazy.
So it's incredible. You know, I told him I was looking at one of the things I did was like copywriting years ago and stuff like that. You look in the chat. I mean, I still don't think it's as good as a person, but eventually within the next year or two, it's going to be just as good. Like you figure you just say,
not better.
Yeah, that's what I said. ChatGPT is just like I need 5 subjects on health, and it'll just say these are the top 5 Google subjects on health, and it'll turn into a whole paragraph. And all you gotta do is edit it. They said a kid that used it for his college paper, and even when they used it for his college paper, they couldn't pick up the copyright. So even in that mechanism, it still has a way to where it doesn't copy anything else, to where it doesn't like necessarily quote other things. So you can use it even without getting copyright or anything like that.
That's the scary shit about this, though.
Yes.
This is the first iteration.
It's
of it.
original
Yes.
content.
It's only going to get better as time goes on.
Exactly.
And then they're talking about
And it's going to get better by its own, inner workings.
Exactly.
Which is even more scary.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think it's going to be smarter than humans. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, and then we kind of go into that whole like 1984 scenario. We talk about Terminators and things like that.
I better go watch iRobot.
No bullshit. But I kind of want to get in a couple other things too, Vince.
Sure thing.
Let's talk about some savings accounts. We were talking about that a little bit earlier.
Yes, we were.
So you were saying that savings accounts are useless to the average person.
Yes, because the average APY for a savings account is 0.33%. I said earlier that the healthy inflation rate for a healthy economy is 2 to 3%. So if you let that money sit in a savings account that's 0.33%, you're losing buying power. You're losing the value of your money. So, and we used to back in the good old days have APYs of like 5-6%, and stock dividends used to be $5-6 per share on average.
Yeah.
I dare anyone to find a stock with $5-6 as a dividend, and that's affordable.
Right.
By the way, that's not in the hundreds or even the thousands of dollars. Yeah. Per share.
Yeah.
By the way, per share.
Oh, facts.
But yeah, so what that leads people to do is to take their money out of a savings account and put it into a stock market, which
Right.
I'm not saying is a bad thing at all. I mean,
We're not financial advisors.
we are not financial advisors.
We just
Yes.
3 guys with a microphone.
But in order to keep up with inflation, even healthy inflation, you have to put your money to work.
You have to.
And the stock market, especially nowadays, and especially after Trump took office, it has become very volatile and very, very risky. And I don't think people should subject that kind of level of risk just so that they have the same buying power from the year before.
Right.
So, okay, let me ask you this. Are you saying that individual stocks are risky or just the stock market as a whole? Because
stock market as a whole.
Okay, so
S&P 500 specifically. I could show you the charts if you want.
Okay. So because my whole philosophy now is I read this book called The Simple Path to Wealth, and I forget the damn author's name. Really smart dude. But what I've been doing a lot with my money is I take my money and I put them into mutual funds or index funds a lot of the time.
Yeah, okay.
And my big one is the VTSAX, the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on average, and don't quote me on this, but I'm just trying to paraphrase. I think on average it's returned about 8% over the years. And yes, there's always been a dip, there's always been a crash, but they said on average the market always recovers. Okay.
Yeah, if you hold it in, if you got the plan to do it long term,
Sure.
Yeah, of course. I think it's still a good bet long term.
And that's kind of what I'm talking about right now too. So you're just saying the stock market period, even over time, is a risky bet.
And I think what he's saying,
especially now, yes.
Okay.
Nobody knows what the hell.
Yeah. I think more so what he's talking about too. Let's say if somebody has under, most people don't have a certain like set of cash flow. You know what I'm saying? So if someone doesn't have like a cash net, it's like, like if you only have, let's say $6,000, $5,000, some people don't even have that in the bank. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you don't have any type of cash,
most people don't have that. But
correct. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, but that's what I'm saying. Speaking to the average man, most people got to make money within like the next year or two.
Okay.
Like it can't be something to where it's like, I'm looking for I think long term, I think those are still okay. But I think just short term, like you said, it's been very volatile. It's kind of risky. And then you have to kind of do your homework. Like, is this really the best place if I invest $1,000 or $2,000? When they have other things out here, e-commerce, things like that, where I can invest that in and possibly get a bigger return faster. I mean, I got to put some work in. But
so I wanted to say this before I pass it back to Vince too. It's just like the reason that I'm so confident in Vanguard, the total stock index, is because like I have a long-term vision for my money. Let's just say that I'm not here and the next 5 or 10 years I pass away, something happens to me. That money will then go to whoever I leave it to. You see what I'm saying? So I guess like Oliver was saying, most people kind of like, I have to get the money now. You know what I'm saying? But now for me, it's just like, I already know that when I put it in there, I'm not going to touch it for 20, 30, 40 years. God willing, if I'm still here.
You have more patience than me, to be honest.
Don't get me wrong.
I like playing options, which are like very short term stuff.
Okay.
So it's like, you have much more patience.
Okay.
And that's what I say. I think it just all kind of depends on where you're at too. Like, because there's so many different financial sectors in terms of money. Like you have some people that like, hey, I got all the time in the world, but I don't have no money. I got some people that got time, and I got a little bit of money. I got some people that had no time, and I still got. It kind of just depends where you're at and how much money you're trying, where your financial standards are. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, if it's somewhere you have like, let's say $800,000 in the bank, would you be more patient then? Or would it still be something where you still want to play stock? You know what I'm saying? It just depends. It just depends on the person. Yeah.
Well, first of all, what I'm saying is I don't think people shouldn't place their money into the stock market. I just feel like people shouldn't have to.
Right.
Yeah. So that I just want to make that point very clear.
Yeah,
I think everybody should invest and invest into whatever they deem is valuable.
Yeah.
But I don't think people should have to put their money towards corporations, aka people who they don't vote for. They have no control over what those people do with their money,
right?
And just so that they could again have the same buying power that they did the year before.
Right. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Like at this point, it's kind of like if you don't keep your money moving, at this point, it's like you better do something because it's like that ship is sinking. Like you have to invest it in something. Like you got to keep it moving or working.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, I kind of wanted to even think about this too because I tell people always to try to have a long-term vision for not just your money, but everything.
Yes.
You see, we're still all relatively young, but we don't know what the future is going to hold for a lot of us. Let's say you have $400,000.
Food chain supply fucked up.
No bullshit. Let's say you have $400,000 in your account. I'm being nice with that. But $400,000 now, the time that we need it, $400,000 ain't going to be shit. I was even talking to Skylar about that last night because
for
like
retirement specifically,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, like for the average worker,
mm-hmm.
And the average worker might not even have that when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
So when you start working, and let's just say we're like 29, 30 right now, and we need it at 65 when we eventually need it.
Mm-hmm.
You have $400,000. What's it going to do for you really?
And that's and to be honest, that's making the assumption that the U.S. dollar has not collapsed.
It's stable. It's at a ratio of a percentage of 2 to 3% of inflation every year.
But I'm making a lot of assumptions. I mean, I'm making a lot of assumptions here. But like even one person I was talking to recently, he basically was on track to retire. He wanted to retire in the next 3 to 4 years. Then he went to this, like, it was some kind of federal government retirement class, some kind of seminar or something like that. But essentially, this is a guy that makes in the upper 6 figures. Okay. And he actually said that after he went to that damn conference, he almost freaking cried because he realized he didn't have enough money to actually sustain himself past the next 3 or 4 years. So he had to work an extra, I think he said maybe 10 years. And this is a guy that's making a lot of money. Yeah. And of course, it's probably a little bit of a spending problem too, because people who make those high salaries also spend a lot of money too. But there's no way in the world that this is a guy that's the luckier end, on the higher end of the spectrum. Yeah. And he can't retire. So I don't even want to think about the average Amazon worker, factory worker, something like that. It's crazy to me, man. Seriously.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like I said, it comes down to financial literacy, because at the end of the day, no matter whether it's 2023, 2024, whether it's 1980, 1990, 1960, 1910, money still has always worked the same. At the end of the day, you get it. And they always say, never have your money at rest. If you look at any financial literacy book or anybody that's high on the financial chain, don't even got to be in the business. They've always said, never have your money at rest. And I think at the same time, people don't have a place for their dollars, and people get, just complacent after a while. You're like, oh man, I'm good. Retirement. And now it's getting to the point where you have to be of some type of financial literal status, because at the end of the day, like, okay, you can have $400,000 in the bank. What that mean if it ain't moving? You can have $800,000 in the bank. What that mean if it ain't moving? Like, you have to make your money move in order to make it increase. And people just want to just get to a point where I could just sit back, relax, nothing more. And that's not a financial principle of increasing wealth at all.
And I think you kind of missed my point there, though, because my point wasn't necessarily like having that money kind of sitting there. My point is that people won't even have the money to be able to retire in the first place.
Right. But that still comes to a point where they kept their money complacent. When you put your money into a retirement, that's keeping your money complacent. It's not, it's building a little bit, but that's not the most optimum way to build or increase your wealth, by putting it in some type of 401k or 403k. So
you're saying, as opposed to doing 401k, put your money in other avenues.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Especially nowadays.
Like what? Like what would you say?
Like, I would say more so something to where it's like, it depends on where you're at. Like, so for example, if you're under like $100,000 or something, I would say, the best investment you can make, it sounds corny, but it's into yourself. People may not want to do it, but at the end of the day, learn sales. At the end of the day, you can learn sales, learn how people work, learn people skills. Like I said, you can invest in, like, start up a nonprofit, keep the money circulating, kind of similar to what you're saying, but just on like a, just on kind of like
level.
Yeah, because like it's getting to the point where like, now it's getting to the point where you didn't have to do that before, but now it's getting to the point where those skills, you have to do that. Like, you have to do it. And to me, if you've been a financial literal person, even from the 80s or 90s, and you always follow those principles, you don't have anything really to even be worried about. And even now, if you follow those principles, getting the first 100K will be hard, but at the same time, same thing, if you follow those money principles, you'll be fine. It's just like going to the gym. Everybody can relate to this. When you go to the gym, your body doesn't just stay there. You have to keep working out. You have to keep putting in the sets. Sometimes you're like, dang, I was a little off. Dang, okay, I'm getting a little bit. I got cut down a little bit for the summer. You know what I'm saying? You go through those time periods, but it's never to the point where it's like, dang, I'm 300 pounds again. But the only way you get to that is by getting good workout habits, good workout knowledge, and also keep applying it. And then when I make the argument is to people, I'm not saying you always have to work, but you got to get to the point where your money is working at a significant rate, where you're investing it at a significant rate to where it's providing you the increase on the return. You can't just have money sitting. And it'll say that in The Wealthy Gardener as well. I know that's your book.
No, facts. But I'm gonna come down your street too, Vince, really quick, because the average Oliver, we know the person that's working at a factory job. We know it's a skill problem. We know they have to go ahead.
No, it's not even a skill problem.
Increase their income.
No, it's not even an increased problem. My thing is with that is like, what are you doing with the money that you're making? Like, for example, you got this factory guy. He want to complain about bullshit all day. Okay, you may make $15 an hour. Okay, but when you make these $15, let's say you live in a home or whatever the case may be. All right, what are you doing with it? You still going out here buying fucking Jordans. You still going out here buying fucking rims. You still going out on the fucking weekends. What the fuck is your problem? At the end of the day, you need to either take that money, invest it in a fucking book, audio book. You can't tell me you can't spend $10 on a fucking audio book, or go to a used bookstore, get some fucking knowledge, and go out here and apply it. You know, you can get the knowledge, read it in the book. Everybody want to watch videos and shit now, but go out here and fucking apply the shit. And what I'm saying is to this point now, you have to do that. And no matter what amount of money you're making, you can do that. So it's even to the average factory worker, it's not even just a skill problem. To me, it's an execution problem as well.
But I think, Vince, your point was with like the thing that you were saying the whole time was just like these average people can't necessarily they don't have money left over to do anything, is what you're trying to say, right?
Bro, there's YouTube. That's bullshit.
Hold on, I was wondering what you got to say, because like you were saying, basically go back to the good old days where basically you didn't have to do these 3 or 4 things. You basically get one job, park there for the rest of your life, have plenty of money, retire, and kind of keep it like right off into the sunset.
So you can work a summer and pay off for college. Yeah. See, that's the kind of society that I want to live with. Not no offense, what you're saying, where you're constantly growing, constantly developing, adapting to the newest trend or the newest just the big thing in the market. You know, I mean, of course there are going to be people like that.
Sure.
No, but who are going to be headstrong in you know, growing themselves at a consistent basis. I don't think every single person in America is going to be like that. To be honest, they shouldn't be. I don't think that's freedom.
They're not. But what I'm trying to say is, it's getting to the point where it's like, but that's still a financial principle, though. That's like a principle that's been here from the 1910s from forever, all the way till now, and growing money. So what I'm trying to say is, it's getting to the point now where it's unfortunate. Trust me, I don't even want to do it, but it's to the point where now a person has to do it, and that's what I'm trying to say. If you have to do it, at the end of the day, what can we really do? Just sit back, complain about what's going on?
I'm not saying we should do that now.
Right.
Because now we have to play the game.
Right. Because yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying for the average worker that's listening to this. I don't want them thinking like, oh man, I'm fucked. I just got to wait. No. Check your fucking spending. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Where are you going with it? And to me, even if you don't have extra money, dog, YouTube is free. If you have a smartphone, you have a chance. Now the
YouTube and the internet, it has a lot of misinformation.
It does.
I told you guys earlier, I go to the Library of Congress every Saturday because that's high quality information. That's peer reviewed. That's, you know, it's I don't have to sift through the bullshit of the internet.
I agree.
And, you know, every time I look up for stock market books or anything like that, I have to sift through like fucking Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I agree.
Stock market for dummies.
I
don't want to do that.
I agree, but as your financial literacy increases, you'll be able to see what's bullshit and what's not. Absolutely. My thing is, if you don't know anything, you got to just start somewhere.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a lot of trial and error. And that's why I say a lot of people don't like that first grunt work. What's real? What's not? But it's just at the point now where people have to do that or you'll suffer.
Hold on, what's on Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I'm sorry, I don't. The author, I'm just not a fan of. Every time I've seen him in like some kind of interview, he's a contrarian for no reason. He just likes to not portray. He likes to portray that he doesn't go with the flow of people to seem cooler. That's the vibe I get from the guy. I'm sorry.
I think it's
I like Robert Keyes.
I'm sorry, he's fine, but I just remember I saw this video of like
teriyaki.
He was asked what stocks he invested in. He's like, I don't invest in the stock market. Why would I do that?
Why would I invest in the
stock market? It's a rigged game, and I mean he's not. He's
kind of
terribly wrong, but I'm just like
kind of like a smart ass.
Why invest in the stock market? You want to put your money to work, as we discussed.
Yeah.
Like, don't look at that as like a surprise. That
he kind of tries to like play it like as like, oh, how stupid.
Yes, exactly. That's how he came across. I'm like, you're a finance guy. You're known as a finance guy.
So I want to kind of shift gears here too a little bit. We were talking about this food, the food umbrella. Essentially. I want you to kind of go in that a little bit too, because what people don't really know is that, I'll give the example. The majority of things you consume are owned by a small amount of people, whether that's media, whether that's food, whether that's sports, whatever the case is. So kind of go in that a little bit about this food umbrella and everything, Vince.
So only 10 companies own every single brand of food in America.
Do you know the 10 off the top of your head?
I do not know the 10 off the top. I should have wrote that down too, but only 10 companies own all of the food brands in America: Oreos, Chips Ahoy, Gerber, Gatorade,
And you
10
feel like
companies.
And do you feel like that's more of a positive thing or a negative?
No,
thing?
negative thing.
Okay.
Anytime there's a small amount of corporations or companies owning an entire industry, that's very, very bad.
Yeah.
Because there's not as much competition. And what's the best thing for business for short, smaller prices, and it's more competition.
Let's put more bullshit in the food so that we could charge higher margins.
These 10 companies can get together and just be like, hey, let's put hormones in our milk really quick. And if we all are on the same board with that, we can all make huge profits.
Yeah.
They can do that, not legally, but they can do that.
Yeah, like it was something that was on even like on Kellogg's or something like that. It was saying like it was saying ingredients, it was saying da 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 da. It was saying, then it said genetically modified item, but it says like in real light print.
Exactly.
So I'm like, what the fuck is that? Somebody made me realize that the other day.
But
that's true.
Here's the big thing. I don't know who I was talking this about the other day, but do you know that the food we get here is not the food they get over like in Europe and things like that?
Oh no, they have very strict laws, especially in Italy. God, they have very strict laws and regulations about their food, man.
I'm like, that's just not really fair because we get all kind of artificial colors, dyes, different, food colorings. I'm like, bro, that's partly why Americans are so, for lack of a better word, fat now. It's because the processed garbage that we're eating. But you go over to Europe, like you said, Italy, they don't play that shit over there.
No,
you can't get away with that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I can't remember if it's ricotta or ricotta cheese in Italy, but real ricotta or ricotta cheese is only made in one place, and they have to have a certain stamp or seal on their cheese for it to officially and lawfully be recognized as either ricotta or ricotta, whichever one it is. But those are the kinds of laws that they have in Europe for their food.
So why do you think it's so different here as opposed to over across the pond?
Well, because we're a big business economy.
Greed.
We prioritize growth and profits over, I guess.
That's true.
Moral principle of feeding our people healthy food.
And I don't have any literature behind this, but it's just like, I just even feel like things like cancer rates are even on the rise. And I think it's because of some of these foods that we're eating.
I think mental illness.
Oh, did you see the change in the food period?
A lot of mental illness too, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see the new food period?
They had like
it was like some chocolate on the newest one. Like it was like some what was it, chocolate or something that was like at the top. I said it was saying dark chocolate is healthier than almonds, or it was like some stupid shit. I said, what the fuck is this? But it's like it's getting to the point now where it's almost getting, come on now. And people, they want to go with their feelings. Oh, I can eat chocolate. It's healthy and wine. Okay, cool. It's better than cereal. But that shit ain't better than broccoli, bitch. Yeah. Like but you want to believe that. So people are just going with the flow, and it's of course hurting our society. So it's about it comes down to the bottom line of greed. I do agree with that.
But the only way for those companies to disperse so that there's more competition is if government gets involved. I think that's a perfect example of why I think government should be involved in our economy, more involved, I should say, in our economy. Because those companies aren't going to stop what they're doing.
No,
they're not on them by themselves. They're not. Same thing with big tech. There's only a couple of companies running big tech right now. They're not going to break themselves up. And every single time throughout history, government comes in and breaks up, whether it be the big banks, whether it be hopefully big food and big tech. That's the government's job. Yeah. Oil, steel. Yes. It is the government's. It has always been the government that breaks those up and creates more competition.
You're saying some good shit, bro. But okay, let me ask you this.
I know you hate the sentiment of the government being involved with.
No, but that makes sense, and history proves that. History proves what you're saying. That's true.
Yes, and I get that, and I believe 20 to 30 years from now, government will get too involved with my life in our lives. Yeah. We'll get taxed out the ass. But like I said,
and then it'll switch back to big business again.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll just keep going.
We should be looking at these things more like tools and like balance. It's a balancing act essentially, rather than the end all be all for society.
I can get behind that. That's fair. That's fair.
Us as humans, we don't like change.
Exactly. Yeah, that is a big human problem for sure. But I'm not anti-capitalist. I'm currently anti-capitalist, but I I won't be once when big government goes.
But people don't want to think like that. They don't want to think like, okay, but 20 years from now, people want to think like, okay, anti this, and that's it for the rest of my life.
Stay there, right? You got to
you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you got to switch, bro. It's like, like you said, people don't want to, because every time you switch, you have to do research on what's currently going on. You have to update yourself. Nobody, it goes back to what we saying. Nobody wants to put in that work. It just, you don't want to do that.
Yes.
So let me ask you this, Vince, because like, do you think that even the government coming in and breaking up these big tech companies will be good? Because think about this, you really can boil down about 6 companies rule the world right now, and what are they? Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, Disney, and give me a 6th one, but basically it's those companies, okay?
Yes.
So would you advise the government coming and even breaking some of those companies up? Like Amazon pretty much owns everything now.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I would definitely be in favor of the government breaking up Amazon.
Really?
So that, just at least in the retail sector, I don't, just so that small businesses can flourish.
Because they whooping their ass.
Because if you start a mom and pop shop, like just some clothing store, and you gain a good amount of success, Amazon will buy you right the fuck out.
with more anything like
everybody's got a price, man. If somebody comes to you with an absurd amount of money, you're going to, and you own a business, a successful business, somebody, you're going to be bought. But
can't you say that all comes down to really like how much we don't stand together as a community? Like, and how much we don't stand together as far as people. Because if everybody says, no, fuck you, we boycotting Fruit Loops, or fuck you, we're not going to buy this because you're putting artificial coloring in our shit, they would change. But at the same time, I don't feel like we're strong enough as a unit. And that's why I think they keep trying to do things like divide the family home.
Well, I don't think we have incentive to do that other than from the kindness of our heart, which in some aspects can go.
That's why you're preaching for it.
Yes, but I mean,
it's not enough.
It's not
enough.
I'm just one voice, but it's basically all about incentive.
It is,
right?
It is. True.
If you get some kind of, benefit from protesting or boycotting certain things.
But see, there is
a real benefit that you'll do it.
But see, but there is a benefit, but the benefit is a long-term benefit, and it's a benefit that they might not see in their lifetime. So they just assume that, well, it's not going to happen to me, or well, my kids, they'll deal with it.
With that. Yeah, I will.
Because that's why I make the argument where I was looking at what the biggest drivers in human performance, and it was saying the biggest thing was contribution. When the Romans would build statues and things like that, it was things that they knew they wouldn't see it in their lifetime. But just the fact of just contributing to help build the pyramids and things like that, they just knew. And it seemed like, that's why I said, do you think it's kind of like our, not weakness as a society, but we just became less humane, just less selfish. Like if I don't get it, hey man, I'm good. Or like kids, even parents putting what's them joints, like opening loans up in their kids' names. They're like, man, they'll deal with it, stuff like that. To me, that's just crazy. Like I think TK was saying, like people don't have a long enough vision enough, and it's all about right now. What am I getting in my life? And I think we've lost that as people. Which, like I said, I mean, I can't be mad. You want your luxuries, but do you think that's the reason?
The kind of society that we live in right now. It's a dog eat dog world.
Yeah,
and you
sound like what came first, the chicken or the egg type thing.
But I believe like with constant growth and with constant profits, you have to look out for yourself.
You do.
And you're only going to help on a community basis if you profit.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's why people are more selfish nowadays. Everyone's going to look out for their own, no matter what.
I'm not saying this.
I'm not blaming it.
Yeah, I can't blame them.
I'm not blaming it. I operate the same way every day.
Yeah.
But I think that's because of external factors that are really beyond our control.
And that's what I'm saying. Like they said, a lot of these short-term causes are causing us to kind of like not stand together, not be more like, I'm going to get mine. Y'all do what y'all got to do. You know what I'm saying? Because we're thinking so short-term. That was my argument.
Because let me tell you something. I went to New Zealand in September.
Okay.
New Zealand is a very socialist country. Not democratic socialist. They are pure socialists. Yeah. Okay. Government very heavily involved, not just within business, but in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But the people there were much more community based, as is
here.
No, not here. We are very individualistic.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like unlike here.
Unlike here. Oh, my bad. But people were more happier, more trusting just from meeting you right off the bat. Whereas here in America, it's totally different.
Yeah,
you're kind of like I do this too, so I'm not
They said, "Look, I'm selfish too, motherfucker."
I mean, it's true.
Yeah,
like when you first meet somebody, sometimes you're judging them a little bit more, sometimes a little more harshly than others, and that's not how it was over there at all. They were much more, like I said, community based.
Yeah,
and I think that was because of the structure of their society.
Only people they judge is us. They like, you Americans, but I can't be mad at them.
No, not even like that at all. They're like the Canada of Australia, bro.
yeah, I'm just playing. What's the name? No, one of my friends actually went to New Zealand. He said the same thing. He tried to tip a waiter there, and they was just like, why are you tipping me? And he was like, you from America, ain't you? And he was like, yeah. He was just like, yeah. He said, they don't pay y'all enough. He said, I don't need your tip. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't being disrespectful, but he was just like, we get paid more than enough. But thank you. But that speaks to what you were saying.
Can I ask you this though, Vince? Do you think that they're that way because of the socialist society? Because one of the basic rules of statistics is that correlation does not equal causation. So do you think it's purely the socialist environment that influences people to be like that, or could it be something else?
I think so because when a socialist society is much more community based, whereas capitalism or like a laissez faire system is more individual based. Both have their pros and cons for sure. But I think when you're the kind of person that doesn't mind paying higher taxes or doesn't mind having a cap on your prescription drugs, you're in the mindset of, okay, here's the reason why, and I am okay with that reason. Like, for instance, the cap on prescription drugs. If I were to let this price go, people won't be able to afford it. People will die. You'll have so. Are you kind of following me?
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah. So when you are under certain laws and regulations, those are the kind of mindsets that you have because they're being practiced out on the eastern part of the world.
Yeah, and I actually agree with you on that. And I don't want to give too much detail on what I was watching that kind of circled into that. Mm-hmm. But they were just talking about basically once you lose the fact of morals and integral code and stuff like that, to me, that's where we start having places like America here, where stuff starts going crazy and stuff. Because if you're a person that deals with, I don't want to say like religious code or nothing like that, but if you deal with a certain like line of morals, or if you have some type of principles or something like that, you're not going to let shit fly because a certain act of humanity is still like within you. You know what I'm saying? But when you get so driven by money and greed, you're like, fuck it, man, I don't care about them. Yes. So you know what I'm saying? It seems like that's what America now, we have results of, like you said, that built on society, but has just lost. And that's why a lot of people, when they look at the West, they say the West is done, man. They talk about America, they say, man, America's finished.
Yes, because we don't look out for each other.
We don't.
Like I've said, we don't have incentive to.
Yeah.
Because 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. We don't have the resources or the funds to take care of our neighbor.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what I want to stop seeing in this country.
No, and I actually do agree with that. That's true.
And I mean, what does almost every old person say? Like, oh, you need to respect your elders and all that kind of shit. And we don't have to because we're not like. I shouldn't say we don't have to. I should say
an old lady with a cane.
Like we're more concerned with our issues that we have to deal with.
Right.
That we aren't concerned with. Common courtesy.
Yeah. No. 100%.
You see what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah. I kind of lost track a little bit.
But that's true. But that's why. Like I said, us as America, we don't follow any type of principles, and that's why it's hard from the outside country looking at.
Because we all have major problems we have to deal with.
Exactly. And, and at the same time, there's a certain moral or integral code, like I said, that comes in at a certain point. Not, hey, no matter how much money you make, you give this portion back. Or like you said, it's certain things of why they're like that. You get what I'm saying? Like they give them that foundation where everybody is together and humane. In America, we live in such a woke society where everybody thinks they're spiritual and it's all about how I feel. And to me, all that does is just create a state of hedonism, and we will decline as a society. I have to agree. America's done.
So I'll say this too. It's just like, and again, you don't have to be a specific religion, but I think it's just we're getting farther away from God too. The reason
I wasn't trying to say that, but I was trying to keep because I didn't want people to be like, oh, that's really actually what I meant.
It's not even a religious thing or a specific religion, but
Yeah.
back in the day, the reason that America was such a country, what was it? God, family, country. And I'm not saying it has to be a specific God, but religion it has certain parameters that makes you follow
no matter what religion it is,
a certain moral code, be good to your neighbor. There are all certain things that make basically America what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not necessarily saying that you have to follow a specific God, but I just think having a certain amount of religion in your life is always good.
A certain community.
Right, exactly. Sure.
Community based.
Right, exactly.
Just like in the good old days when we were more, I shouldn't say that, but more, we were more community based.
I'm gonna name this episode. I'm gonna call this the good old days episode.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. And I mean, we were just more principled. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I wasn't trying to say that, but that's exactly what I was getting to. We are getting further away from God. Like I said, I wasn't trying to put that out there. I know some people but it's not even like you said about religion or nothing. But it's like when you follow God, you typically follow some type of principles, no matter who your prophet is or whatever. You follow type of principles, and within those principles, like I said, I've read through different types of religions and how they practice. A lot of it is, like I said, there's some type of humanity in order, like, you know what I'm saying? Like within it, like, it's like certain things like, hey, don't do this to your brother, or hey, love one another like yourself. Mm-hmm. And like you said, America, if a person, even if they have a lot of money, if they love another like themselves, they're not going to put genetically modified shit in their food just for profit. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what people start getting lost at, man. Hey, because a lot of, stuff like not religions, but like, prophets and stuff, they say like, don't get lost in the money. Money can be an evil thing because, like you said, if it's all about profit, man, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's important, but when you make it the most important thing, you start putting people second. And that's what a decline of a society. I think that's what we have here in America.
But you said something good there too, bro. And like, I'm a Christian myself, me personally. I don't knock anybody, do what you want to do, but it's two commandments.
And I'm not, by the way. So it's like, see how two people can still have a conversation, and see the same thing. I just want to put that out there. Yeah. Some people say like, oh, they're all Christian. No, at the same time, listen, we all have differences and we all can.
But there was basically two rules that Jesus gave. It was like, love the Lord God, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and also love your neighbors. You love yourself. And like you said, if you love your neighbor, you're not going to murder your neighbor. Mm-hmm. You're not going to steal from your neighbor. You're not going to put genetically modified food in your neighbor's food. And I just think that going back to have some kind of principles, morals, and integrity is a big part of why this country's failing.
But now we're in a doggy society, like you said. Hey, you know what? They put some shit in we're going to put double in theirs. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it, give it money.
So, Vince, anything else you want to get off your chest before we shut down, man?
It's a pretty big chest, ladies. Just like you like muscular guys.
Oh my god.
I think this is a lot of good stuff. We kind of went all over the place.
But
it's under the same spectrum though. You know what I'm saying?
I think we kind of went in.
Nothing else. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Vince, you're more than welcome to come back, bro. If you got anything else you want to talk about, bro, we'll go ahead and redo this thing, man.
Yeah, I'm always down, man.
Okay. We gotta get you on with the ladies too, man.
You don't want to come down for that, man.
I would love to do a typical episode of your guys for sure.
You don't want to do that, man. Keep your hair, keep your sanity, because it'd be some BS going on down here.
What's sanity, bro?
Hey, but last thoughts on the show, Oliver.
Hey, man, show was good. We got really in depth. Like I said, these are actually the conversations that I actually like to have. You know what I'm saying? We be down here with the girl screaming and shit like that. But to me, it's just the same shit over and over and over again. These are the conversations I like to have, where we are, where we're going. And regardless of opinion and stuff, like, it's always good to hear people's other side perspectives, because I learn a lot as well, and I feel like we're really truly educating when we do that. A lot of people like the girl shows, but to me, these are my favorite shows.
Last thoughts, Skylar.
I thought it was a very fun conversation. It sparked a lot of questions on my end that I'll probably be asking on the back end. But I had a good time. Hey,
questions make answers, and that makes change.
Vince, go ahead and plug your Instagram, any kind of businesses, any kind of promotions you got coming up, bro. The floor is yours, man.
If you want to follow me, my Instagram is meditative bodybuilding. That's meditative_bodybuilding. No businesses. Just give me a follow. I post some workout videos, some interesting exercises I do at the gym. Other than that,
We all
Nothing
start
else.
we all start vlogging, man. I gotta come down there. We all gotta do like a big vlog or something.
Oh,
like
I'm
that.
totally down for
You know what I'm
that.
saying? Do like a workout vlog. That'd be dope.
Oh,
yeah. And Vince, man, like I said, appreciate you, man. And I want to just kind of take this opportunity to say that you don't have to agree on everything, but
Absolutely
I think having
not.
these conversations is just really important moving forward. I think if both sides can come together, whether it's left, right, Christian, Muslim, gay, straight, you can kind of sit down in these conversations. The world will be a better place, bro.
And let me say this one last thing, and I think that's where a lot of this generation is lost, man. We think if we have a difference of opinion, oh, that can't be my friend, or we got to argue some shit. No, man, you can have a civilized conversation of opinions and perspectives, and that's what it's all about. And to me, that's what makes a change, because eventually you'll get closer to the truth.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you guys for having me on and helping me get this out, because this has been ruminating in my head and I've kind of been reclusive lately. So I'm glad I kind of got it out there and shared some ideas with you guys and
I was gonna say
with your
man,
audience.
You ain't really been in the gym or anything, man. you see Vince like once every couple months now. Like,
hey, man, we all working 8 jobs. I ain't been in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, shit, we trying to get it.
I thought you were gonna come back with like a long hermit beard or something like that. You know, I thought it was gonna happen.
I came close.
All right, man. Well, like I said, that'd be like all our time to the next time. This is the Shattered Illusionz Podcast. Kill the fantasy, build the dream. We are out of
Free
here.
Top G.
Oh yeah, free Top G. Love y'all boys.
Well, I take him to the creek and
Hey, well.